Hello patrons, it's Pam. It's my first ever Patreon video. This is for you specifically, no one else. Thank you so much for being my patron. I super appreciate it. Your support is everything. So today in my first video for you, I'm going to go over all of my projects, all my current projects that I'm working on, where they're at, which ones are with publishers, which ones have been rejected, which ones I'm shelving, which ones I'm turning into completely different things now. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is Where the Wind Blows. I'm not quite sure if you can see all that, but I've been working on this game since 2019. And so essentially it's a tile game where you have these different items on tiles, and they're all things that are swirling around in the wind. There's leaves, hats, umbrellas, kites, and balloons. And it's kind of like Candy Crush. You're trying to group matching items together so that they connect adjacently or orthogonally. And you get points by grouping at least 4 or more matching items together. I won't go into too much detail, but that's essentially it. And there are different powers you can do, different things you can manipulate the grid. But the coolest part is that you can change the direction of the wind. So like in Candy Crush, everything's falling down the same direction. What makes this kind of mostly different, I'd say, is that you can change the direction of where things will fall. So on your turn, you change the direction of the wind, and you lift up any one. So let's see, what would I do here? Sure, we'll do that. So yeah, move the direction of the wind this way. I don't know if you can quite see this, but there's 3 kites here, and there's a kite here. So I'm going to lift this kite up. Because the wind's going that way, these 3 items move that way, because the wind blew it that way, and the item I picked up, I placed back. So now I have 4 connected kites, so I would get 4 points. I would take those off, get 4 points, and then now I have it where you just flip them over to the other side and you keep going. There are different items on the other side and keep going. This game, I've pitched to pretty much every publisher that I know, and I brought it to New York Toy Fair in 2020, and I brought it around with my sell sheet and everything, so my one pager of what the game is all about, and I showed it to, I got the business card for this one publisher, followed up with them, sent them the sell sheet, and they actually got back to me saying they were interested in seeing more. So I mailed them a prototype, and they got back to me with feedback and suggestions, basically wanting to make it simpler because before I had a ton of other stuff going on. So I worked on that last summer, made a bunch of changes, sent it back to them. They took a few months to get back to me to say that it was ultimately a no. So that was too bad. Like, they didn't come back to say they had different, more feedback. It was just no, because they were looking for a game for ages 6 and up. So this was my 6 and up version, which still might be a bit too complicated for that age range. So what's happening with this game now? I still love this game and a lot of people really enjoy it. It's just the main feedback I've got from publishers that I agree with is that what makes this game better as a tabletop multiplayer game than it would as a single player mobile game? And I haven't really been able to answer that because its main issues have been player interaction and pacing. It's been kind of slow waiting for your turn to come around, and when it's not your turn, you're not super invested in what people are doing because it doesn't really affect what you do on your turn. Not a ton of player interaction. I tried addressing those issues, but yeah, I think I agree that it could be better as a mobile game, as a solo mobile app. So that's the plan. I need to now put together a sort of a proposal for a developer who can help me turn this into a mobile app. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, moving on to Blob Party. So Blob Party is a party game I thought of fairly recently, even though I've been kind of thinking about trying to make a game like it for a while, but it really came together just last December 2020. And the idea is, so I don't know if you played Blob tag as a kid, but that's kind of where the name came from. The idea that in Blob tag, one person's it, but once they tag someone else, they're also it. And then if they take someone, then they're also it, till there's a big blob of its running around. So the sort of main mechanic of the game is that anyone who says the same answer becomes a blob or a team. And everyone, so it's a cooperative party game. And so everyone starts as individuals, and you're trying to all become part of the same blob or the same big team before the end of 5 rounds by all saying the same answer. So, it's a deck of category cards and a deck of words. So let's just do one together. So we have music and money. Music and money. What would you say for that? So it doesn't have to be just one word. It can be whatever you want. But you're hoping to match with at least one other person. I know money, music and money. I mean, I know what I initially came to my mind. I don't know if this is what you're gonna say, but lock in your answer. If you haven't locked it in, press pause. Once it's locked in, we're gonna say it at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Cardi B. Her song Money? Money! If any of you said Cardi B, we would then become a blob. We'd become a team moving forward in this round. If anyone else said maybe iTunes or royalties, royalties, that would be a good one. If anyone else said the same thing, then they would become a team. So there might be multiple blobs at the same time. And then we would do another one. So geography and travel and bubbles. We're not going to keep going, but you get the idea. So everyone would say something for that, but this time the blobs would work together to come up with one answer for their team. And they're trying to match with other blobs and other people. I love this game. I love it. I haven't been this excited about a game in a while. I pitched it at an event in April. I think I got like a few people who said they wanted to see more information. And then one publisher actually made an offer. So we'll see what happens. I have like that sort of same feeling I had. No, it's the same feeling I had with Hold That Face. Where I was like, okay, there's something here. So Hold That Face being my game that was published. So this was Blob Party. Now let's talk about Courier City. Sorry, I just got a notification. So this game I've been working on since last summer, since I started doing delivery work. So I do deliveries through like Uber Eats and stuff. And I started doing that last summer. That inspired this game. It's a pick up and deliver game where you're doing deliveries around a city. But what makes it kind of different or more interesting from just other pick up and deliver games, I guess, is that you're managing your battery level. So everyone has an electric car, and you have to make sure that you don't run out of battery. You also are timed, for other pick up and deliver games, I haven't played a ton. I've played Istanbul. I think that's about it. But I don't know if there's any that kind of do this, where if in my game, when you go to a store and you pick up the item for a delivery, you pick up the item and then you take the order card associated with that. So there's a communal, like a public market for orders that are available. And once a player goes to one of the stores, so there's like winery, butcher, fruit stand, bakery, and so on. I'm just showing you this physical prototype I made a few months ago. It's currently on Tabletop Simulator, so it looks a bit different, but it's pretty much the same. Once you go to a store and you pick up an item, you take the order card associated with that, and then you also take a timer token and put it on top of the card. If you deliver it within that same turn that you picked it up, you'll get paid full pay. So the order card also shows the payout that you would be paid, and that I've calculated is $1 per space if you were to go the most efficient route. That's currently how I have that mathed out. What was I saying? Yes, if you if you um, if you complete the delivery within one turn, you get full pay. And then at the end of your turn, if you haven't completed it, you move the timer up on your player mat. You move your timer up one space. This player mat looks completely different now, but you get kind of the idea. So these are the timer tracks here. You can have a maximum of 2 orders going at the same time, but at the end of your turn, the timer will move up one space for each of your active orders. So your next turn, if you complete it within that turn, you also get full pay, but after that, you start to lose money. So if you take a super long time to complete the order, you're not going to get as much money, and $1 is 1 point at the end of the game. So you get less points the longer you take. This game I pitched to publishers at an event called Metatopia last November 2020, and there was one publisher who was interested in it, and she said she wanted me to follow up with her, but primarily wanted to see it on a program called Tabletop Simulator, which is a digital program where people can create board games online, essentially, to play test with other people online. I did not know how to use that program, and I've been putting it off for a while, but this was good motivation to learn how to do it. But I wasn't at a point with the prototype where I was ready to learn all of that, put it up on Tabletop Simulator if I still knew there were lots of changes I wanted to make. That probably wasn't the best approach because you can make a ton of changes in Tabletop Simulator. That's kind of the point. I think I was just putting it off because I was intimidated by the program. So I signed up for a playtesting event in April, and pretty much to force myself to learn how to use this program and to get this game up on Tabletop Simulator. So that was a big job. That was a lot to learn, a lot to take in. I'm really glad I know how to use that program now. So this game is on Tabletop Simulator now, and I've been playtesting it, making changes, doing everything in there. So that's step 1. Step 2 is a publisher wanted it down to 30 to 40 minutes, and even if I don't go with this publisher, I think that's a good goal to have. So I've been trying to get it down to about 30 to 40 minute playtime, and I have been nowhere close to that. I'm essentially trying to streamline it as much as possible, increase the pacing, make it faster, make it quicker, and I feel like it's getting there. So I reached out to that publisher who I actually hadn't talked to since November or December, because I felt like I didn't have a prototype at the place where I could update her. I probably should have checked in, but oh well, here we are. So I emailed her last week saying, I think I'm ready to show you where I'm at. I can give you an update. It's on Tabletop Simulator now. She hasn't responded, so we'll see. But I'm just happy in general with where this is going. It's been a lot of work, so I've been kind of losing a bit of motivation with this one, losing a bit of enthusiasm just because it is a lot of work to update. I'll be happy when this one is done, but I feel like it's getting there. So that's good. All right, the next one, I don't have a physical prototype of it because I pitched a concept. This is with a publisher I'm super excited about potentially working with. It's another one that I approached at New York Toy Fair, just walked into their booth and introduced myself and asked if I could pitch some games, which was super nerve-wracking. But I did it and met some very nice people. They just asked for, it's really interesting the way that they do things. They're just asking for a game concept. So they say that they want to hear your idea as early as possible. They don't want to see a completely play-tested, perfect final prototype. They want to get in as early as possible so they can be part of the design, prototyping, playtesting stage, which I think is really cool because a lot of the time you work so hard making a prototype, playtesting it, making changes, updating it, playtesting it, blind playtesting it, so sending it out to people and having them playtest just looking at the rules, which some designers say that a game should be blind playtested before even pitching it to a publisher. But I like this approach where you just say, what about this? And they can tell you whether or not that might work, because I think they'll know just even based off that. If they think, okay, yeah, there could be something there, how about this? And then you try that, go back to them, go back to that. I like that approach. So I pitched a few game concepts to them in March, and it was a no to 3 of the 4. But the one that I was most excited about, that I can't say obviously too much about, well, yeah, the other ones I can like tell you more about the game ideas and stuff. But this one, I can't say too much. It's top secret. Primarily because it's based off a license. It's based off a movie. And I'm super, super excited about the possibility. I am super freaking excited and trying to stay cool. So I pitched a game concept to them based off this movie, and it was like a light strategy family game. It was like a set collection. Pretty cool game. It's basically set collection. But again, didn't have to go into specifics, just kind of throw things out there. They came back to me and said that they would love to see a preschool version of this game that I pitched. And they did use the word love. Try not to freak out or read too much into it, but you don't just throw that word around willy-nilly. I made a preschool version, so ages 3 to 4. I ran it by my friend who has a 3.5-year-old kid, and she said it seemed to be the right level of complexity. Well, the first idea I pitched her, she was like, this needs to be cut way down. Like, that age range, apparently, like, just the idea of turns, of taking a turn is like a hard thing to understand. So I had to super simplify it. I think it's at that point where it's not too complicated. I sent that to them last Monday, so it's been a week. Have not heard back from them, but they're a big company that, like, they're pretty slow. So we'll see. That one, that one will be friggin' sweet. I'm not gonna freak out. So the last one. Okay, the last one is actually in the box that the phone is sitting on right now, so that's fine. You can imagine it. The last one I'm going to tell you about it's called Artsy Fartsy. I mean, that's what I was calling it, but I started working on this in like at least 2017, possibly earlier. I can't remember exactly. I think 2017. And I was calling it Artsy Fartsy. This is the game I've had the most trouble naming, and I called it that. But since then, another game has come out called Artsy Fartsy. So now I'm calling it Untitled Art Game, kind of as a nod to how hard this game has been to give a title to, but also now there's an aspect to the game where someone is going to be drawing something without a title. So the concept for the game is one player is a curator, everyone else is an artist. And everyone draws a title card, and it'll have vague titles, like abstracty, modern kind of titles, like an unfortunate surprise, or wait until morning, or red, like artsy sort of names like that. Like nothing that maybe not wait until morning, because that one you can just draw the sun, but things that you can't draw literally. So it's more about conveying the emotion or the idea behind the title. One player will draw the untitled card, and so they'll just be drawing some random thing that they're hoping the curator will assign them a title for that's not untitled. So they're trying to draw something super like abstract and weird that might look like it had a title, but they're just coming up with whatever they want. So all the title cards and the untitled card are mixed together. A couple more are added in just to have more options. They're mixed together, flipped over, face up. The curator looks at all the titles, and then everyone reveals all their works of art for the curator to see. Also, they draw with their eyes closed and non-dominant hand. The curator looks at all of the pieces, looks at the titles, and they're trying to match the titles with the correct piece, as well as the untitled card. The curator gets 1 point per correct match, and the artist gets 3 points if their correct title is assigned to them, and the untitled player will get 5 points if they get an actual title given to them that's not the untitled card. So I've been working on this game, like I said, for a long time. It's had a bunch of different iterations. It's got close a couple times with some publishers, but this one publisher had it for the last 2 years. The last 2 years, they've been sitting on it and just telling me they're gonna make it, they're gonna make it, they're gonna make it, but never actually giving me a contract or a timeline or really responding to my emails. So in these videos, I'm never gonna mention a publisher's name, but this one is at the bottom of my list of people I want to work with. They're not even on the list. They're off the list. I am pitching this game again, and I just pitched it to a publisher a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and we're gonna see. I haven't playtested this new version with the Untitled card and all that. Well, I've playtested it once, so I just kind of pitched it out there to see what they thought, because I was meeting with them about something else, so I just threw it out there. If they come back saying it's a no, then I'll playtest it more to see if this version works well, and then I'll pitch it to other publishers. So I like this game a lot. I like it a lot. I've had a real issue with like the scoring, primarily has been the main issue, the scoring. So I think the system I have now is the most simple I've had it. So hopefully it works. Yeah, so those are all the projects I have on the go. And with your support, we're gonna get things done. I want to say thank you so much. If you watched this whole entire thing, kudos to you. But I want to thank you, my patrons, Monica, Meg, Kathleen, and Pat. Thank you so much. And for any future patrons who are watching this, who have supported me, joined later, thank you to you as well. I super appreciate your support, and I'll keep you updated. I'll do other videos of things that you might want to see, like I'll show you like my prototyping stash, or I have my game archive of all the past games that I've made, fun things like that. So I'll put up like polls and stuff to see what kind of videos you'd like to see from me next. But this is for you specifically, my patrons. Thank you so much. I don't know what my sign off is yet, so let's do this. Thank you.